The true sign of intelligence is not knowledge, but imagination. Imagine your dreams coming true.
Yo, what is happening, YouTube? It's Madman coming at you with another informative video. Today, we want to talk about the Netduma and its latest news. Netgear has partnered with Netduma and have created a router that's supposed to be a super router for gamers. What makes this router a little bit different from any router is that it has Netduma software. I'm not sure if you're aware, but Netgear has been putting out some really awesome hardware lately. The Nighthawk was well received within the community and has had some really awesome hardware aspects to it. It really hasn't been known too much for its software, which is where Netduma steps in with their latest Duma OS. If you're familiar with Netduma, probably already know that this software has been promised to the R1 owners. R1, for those that don't know, is the base model that Netduma sells with their software, retailing at 200 American dollars. The Netgear is retailing right now on Amazon for $2.99. I've been following Netduma from the start. I heard about him through the grapevine. I took a leap of faith a couple months after release. Since then, it's my go-to router for gaming. Absolutely the best piece of software out there. But one thing it always did lack was the Wi-Fi capability. Of course, Netduma always said that they were a software company and not a hardware company. Okay, so let's compare the two. The XR500 has a beefier CPU, better RAM, and the Wi-Fi is probably unbeatable. Top of the line stuff. So if that's something that you're still lacking in your network, I highly recommend you get the XR500 from Netgear. But if you're like me, I already own a Netduma R1 and I have a separate router that I've been using because I have acknowledged this from the early stages that the Netduma R1 does not provide the best Wi-Fi. I went out and bought me a separate router. I did not want to replace my Netduma completely. I just wanted that extra Wi-Fi capability. And by doing so, I accomplished the same thing that the XR500 has accomplished, which is having the best piece of software with the best piece of hardware, being the extra beefy Wi-Fi. Right now, currently, the R1 does not support 5 gigahertz of Wi-Fi, which is a broader channel for your Wi-Fi. It means you can have more devices online at the same time without having any backups or any problems. So let's take a close look at what Duma OS is. Duma OS has been in development for quite some time now. And basically, it's been developed to be an operating system more than just an interface. Being an operating system, you can install stuff onto it. Like you can see on the bottom right corner, you can see the installed R apps. R apps you can probably download from like an outside source, a list of some sort, and it will take less space inside your RAM technically. If you're familiar with third-party router firmwares, you know that you can install different settings onto your router, customize it by doing so. You can say you can add a bandwidth limiter, you can add quality of service, you can add all these other little separate features onto it. So what Duma OS is doing is something very similar to that. Now another thing that's been added here is the ability to customize your dashboard the way you want it to. You can move stuff around, say you want your geo filter here in the front, blowing it, you can blow it up a little bit more than the others. You can pin stuff to your dashboard, you can unpin stuff, you can shrink it down to size. Another great feature that has been added to Duma OS. So bottom line, Duma OS is taking the interface into like an operating system aspect. And may I add, they've done an amazing job. It looks absolutely beautiful. But as far as like the features that are included, is pretty much all the same that you have right now with your Netduma R1. So basically, it comes down to this right now. At the moment, You can buy it right now, receive your Netgear router with a Duma OS, and us Netduma R1 owners have to wait April 18th. So that's like a 3-month stretch down the line. Okay, with the announcement, a lot of questions were raised, and the Netduma staff quickly addressed the major questions. As you can see on your screen here, a lot of people were asking if they can exchange their R1 for the Xr500, and they said no, Netgear's a separate company, so that's not possible. They also asked if the Duma OS can be put on an existing Netgear router, and Netduma said no, unless Netgear decides to do this in the future. And I think the biggest question was, why do we have to wait until April? Netduma says here is that Duma OS was developed around the hardware which is in the Netgear, and also said that they would be adjusting it down to what the R1 is. As you can see on your screen, a couple other questions were asked, but if you look closely down at the bottom of the screen, it says, does the Xr500 have the anti-jitter / anti-spike feature? Okay, so what I was most excited about Duma OS was that anti-jitter, anti-spike feature that was supposed to be implemented within the software, which eliminates any sort of spike inside your line. Even if somebody else is just hogging up all the bandwidth, the line stays stable 100% of the time. There was no jump in the pings. There was no jump in anything. So what does that equal? That equals a stable connection for you. Of course, that will never defeat the people that are lagging across the multiplayer space with their bad connection, but at least you know your line is stable 100% of the time. The ping spike was a solid dead flat line from what I seen on the graphs on some of those anti-jitter charts that I did see. Now, we've been told that that feature is not included in what is in Netgear right now. It may be added in the future, but not right now. It's in the roadmap for the R1. They did not say if it was going to be just for the R1. Other than that, you pretty much get what the Netduma does right now. The only update that you'll get with this Duma OS is the stunning interface that comes with it. It is super clean. It is super clean, totally customizable. I mean, that is a big upside, 100%. If your network is still lacking great Wi-Fi, you don't have another router, I absolutely think you should jump on this Xr500. If you're an R1 owner and have already adjusted to your Wi-Fi, or have another router as I do, which compensates the lack of Wi-Fi capabilities in the R1, I would wait until the R1 receives its update and gets the Duma OS. Only then we will be able to tell if something is not being limited because of having a slower CPU or less RAM, which in theory I don't think is going to be an issue. Maybe a couple of things may have to be dumbed down a little bit because of speeds that the hardware, the R1 is not capable of. But I don't think the core features will be affected at all. So I'm excited to hear what you guys have to say. Are you going to bite the bullet and maybe put your Netduma R1 on Craigslist or try to sell that off? Or if you're an R1 owner, are you just going to wait for the update 3 months down the road? Another thing that I was actually contemplating was actually selling both of these routers that I have. You know what? I'm gonna hold back and fight these compulsive emotions that I have within me, and I'm gonna wait 3 months down the road to see exactly what Duma OS will do. If you're interested in knowing more details, I encourage you to follow the developers on Twitter. And if you have any technical questions, you may want to visit their forum. They're very active on there, and there's a lot of people with great knowledge that are always active there all the time. I encourage you to join the forum. I'm constantly on there. If you see me on there, stop by and say hi. With that being said, this is Man with Twisted Company. I hope you learned something from this video. I really hope it helps you make an informative decision on your purchases. These are my 2 cents. Don't forget to drop a like, subscribe if you're new. Gamers, keep gaming on. We'll catch you on the next one.